Oh, this is so much fun. I always love this. This is one of my favorite parts, just to see everybody popping on in. How awesome. How wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining in conversation today. Um, Welcome to Zenful Conversations. This is recorded for podcast and YouTube. So keep that in mind with your questions if you come on the screen later. If you are not talking, you won't be recorded. It's only going to record the people that are in the screen talking at the time. So welcome to Zenful Conversations. My name is Zen Brown, and today we have Poet Spotlight. We have a poet spotlight, and I'm really excited to introduce and welcome um, Annette Grunseth to join us in community today. Welcome, Annette. Thank you so much for being here.
It is my
Thanks so
pleasure.
much for
Thank you for
yeah.
having me.
Thanks so much for being here. A little bit about Annette. How can you pronounce it's Langlois?
Well, Langlois, or if en français, it would
Langlois.
be Langlois, but Langlois.
Oh, okay, Langlois. Annette Grunseth. Um, yes, she lives in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and she was just talking about how cold it was there. She's the author of Becoming Transparent, One Family's Journey of Gender Transition, Pushcart Prize nomination, and Combat and Campus, Writing Through War, Gold Medal Military Writers Society of America. Excerpts of her work have appeared in two plays about Vietnam, and her poems have been published in Amethyst Review, Silver Birch Press, Poetry of Presence 2, and Love is for All of Us. She won what poetry prize is that, Annette?
The Hal Grutzmacher Poetry Prize in Door County.
And received awards from the Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets and Wisconsin People and Ideas. Her forthcoming book, Summer Days at the Five and Dime, is a memoir in poetry capturing childhood before smartphones and screens, when neighborhood exploring and homemade fun shaped the days. And boy, does my heart yearn to read that book. Annette, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Good,
Thanks so
and
much for being here.
good. Thank you so much for having me. I see wonderful friends out here. Oh my goodness. I know many of you, so thank you for coming. It's just great to have you be here, and I hope we can have a good discussion too about not only poetry, but the writing process and the creative process. So I thought I would just start with take a minute and breathe and slow down. And one way I get inspired is to go out into nature, and that's where I take a breath. So I thought I'd just start with a poem that is called How to Live Like a Water Lily. And I've made it into a postcard. But it also happens to be a Poetry of Presence too by Phyllis Dye and Ruby Wilson, who edited this anthology. How to live like a water lily. Wake up slowly, float in a dreamy world, silky arms folded over your face until mid-morning. Then open wide, sun-warmed awake, breathe from more than one place, soft and supple. Do not worry about today or tomorrow or care what others think of you. Your radiant center is tough, strong, nourished by water and light. Wind and wave may engulf you, but you can easily separate from submersion, opening your face to the heavens. Push back beads of wet darkness, move freely, make white water circles until afternoon, when you fold softly back into yourself, drowsing in the dimming daylight.
Mm.
And that came from a place of kayaking, where we have a lot of wonderful inland lakes in Wisconsin. And I think for writing for me is all about slowing down and observing. So when I'm kayaking, I couldn't help but I'd go past these water lilies. And then I noticed that by 10, they're tight buds early in the morning, but by 10 they open and then they close by 2 in the afternoon. And I thought, what a metaphor. That's what I want to do. So I think of it and they're tough. You can't pick them. Of course you wouldn't because it's against the law, but they're really tough stems and they're so I just felt like that was kind of where I wanted to be. So that's kind of where I go pretty often. I do a lot of my writing from the kayak. I have my phone and I have a the audio feature. I have it in a case, and I can just turn on that audio feature and do some lines. And so that's pretty often where I get ideas, and then it's that slowing down. It's like taking a shower, going for a walk, um, that slow paddling. So I should talk about, actually, I never really intended to publish books, but I've always written poetry. I think as a kid, I started out. I did some journaling as a child, but I didn't really get into poetry until the late 1980s. And in Wisconsin, we have a really wonderful organization called the Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets. And a friend of mine, I'd written a poem, and a friend of mine said, "Oh," she handed me a calendar, and that was back in 1987, and said, "You should be in this." So, okay, I checked it out, and I wound up taking classes from Ellen Court, who was a mentor to many of us in Wisconsin. And Peggy, I know you're from here, and maybe you knew Ellen. Ellen and Laurel Mills taught a class at the University of Wisconsin down in Appleton at the Menasha campus. And I think the rest is history because I got into writing because of them. And I kept wanting to slow down time. At that time, my children were little and I was working full time and everything was going so fast. And I wanted to slow things down. And I had a lot of, I guess, thoughts that I wanted to get down on paper. So I would be up late at night writing poetry after the kids were in bed, and then I wouldn't get to sleep because my mind was going, and then I'd get up and do it all over again. Um,
That's like story of my life.
it kind of is. So overall, I think poetry has become a best friend that really helps me make sense of the world and to help understand what's happening around me. So I've moved into, if I'm not kayaking, we live near a really nice paved bike trail that goes along a river, and that's my daily practice, where I go to get, I guess, slow down and observe things. And that's where I process a lot of things. One of them being was, here's my book, Becoming Transparent. It's got a lot of tabs on it, but it's a picture of my daughter, and we were camping, and it was a lucky moment to get that picture that I wound up using on the cover. But um,
Mm.
one of the things I had never intended was to write a book about transgender, but there were enough issues and things I saw happening in the world. And this was back in 2000, oh my gosh, 13 is when my daughter transitioned. And uh, so, oh, I was just getting a phone call. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I want to pause here anyway because I gotta say, Annette, what what you what you offer is very, very powerful in the words you shared in that book and the respect for humans, and love is love. How you it's just that's really powerful what you did was put that and share your whole family story like that.
Oh, well, and it was kind of scary at the time. I had written. a poem, and once she had told us, um, when she came out, it was like, oh my gosh, we knew other transgender people, so it wasn't like it was a foreign idea. It's just that I didn't really see the signs. So one of the things I did is I took a bike ride down the trail and I thought I just have to process. And it was autumn. So here's the poem that came out of that. It was the time of year when milkweed was starting to float away on the air. And so it's in the book, but then it's also in Love is for All of Us. And I have to give a huge shout out to James Cruz and Brad Peacock for their stunning book of poems of tenderness and belonging. Love is for All of Us. And that is,
You
the timing on it couldn't have been better. We needed this more than ever to come out this year. But anyway,
absolutely.
so this was my processing. And so this happened one poem at a time. And then I realized, oh, I guess I have a collection. And then I read the collection at a reading in Appleton, and I was terrified. I thought, what if people hate this? What if people think this is all wrong? Blah, blah, blah. And so I got through the panic and read the poems, and I couldn't believe how well received it was, that people were hungry for information about the topic. And that was 2 years before it became a book. So then I got busy and thought, well, I guess I have a book. So anyway, this is kind of at the beginning, milkweed, for my daughter. My thoughts try to catch up with your telling. Already 3 months into hormone therapy, black-eyed Susans in bloom, the maples are starting to turn. How did I miss this? Your softening features, smooth skin, and coy smile change like the season in front of me. I see milkweed pods split wide open, birthing perfect rows of seed, secrets given away one at a time. Each brown beginning broken free on the breeze, with hair grown soft, so very soft, while change is on the wind. So that was my processing. And then it kind of just progressed because I saw literally the changes of clothing and how you have to get clothing and it's costly and how you do that. And then going to a restroom together, we went out to lunch and it's the first time I'm going out instead of, now as a daughter. And I thought, what's going to happen? And so I just wrote about it. And I know other people have used the book when they've been coming out to give their family members because it kind of walks through what parents go through. And it's enough of
Yeah,
my poor daughter was going through. I didn't want to burden her. So that's why I was
right. It gives
speaking.
some direction. People are probably really looking for help on how to help with these kind of these people with people's judgment,
Well,
right?
and that was, and when people transition, it isn't all at once. It's a very gradual process. So, um, and those were things I didn't even quite catch. All of a sudden, her hair is getting a little longer and curly on top, and her features are getting soft because she's been on hormone therapy. And the reason I didn't catch this right away is that exactly the same time, my husband was going through chemotherapy for an Agent Orange related cancer. So I was focused on 100% caregiving in another direction. And then all of a sudden I go, oh my gosh. And then find out that my daughter is saying she didn't want to be 60 years old and regretting her life. So that was a turning point for her saying, I'm going to start transition now. And it was the same month that my husband started chemotherapy. So that was a big year. So that year when I sent out Christmas cards, it was, um, dear friends, cancer was not the big story this year. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot to deal with
it kind of
in any
was.
case, but both at the same time, though, Pearl.
Yeah. But that's just the transition of it. And I guess as I put the book together, I realized that, well, it came out in 2000, let's see, 17, worked on it in 2016. And it's been out there, and I would say that this year there's been a resurgence in interest. So I've had a number of organizations that have asked me to give presentations this fall because it's out
Mm,
there. And just to clear up, I guess I want to clear up the misinformation that's out there. So it's still going on, and my daughter and I have decided that we need to write a sequel to it together. So she was my editor. Everything was Anna approved in here. But now I asked her if she would do it together. So I'm doing poetry and she's doing essays, and that's going to be our winter project. We have to get together to do it. But there's more to say about this because she has blossomed. She went from being depressed to blossoming into having her own computer business and doing incredible astrophotography as art and science. Um, so it's just
sure.
we have to continue that story to let people know that love is love, and if you accept and let people be who they are, they can really blossom. It's not what you're hearing in news bites during the day. So I feel very passionate about it that we need to keep working on it.
Absolutely. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I just have to, I'll share a poem from our sequel. And this was in the downtown poetry walk in Appleton. So we had posters that were in store windows for the month of October, and this was chosen to be in there. And so this is for my daughter, another one, as long as we're on the transition topic here. It's called Andromeda, and she does stunning astrophotography. And she had done, she goes through remote telescopes in from Chile or Australia, all over. And so she did one of Andromeda, and we have her artwork on our going up our staircase at home. So I had to write a poem for her Andromeda photo. So from her computer in Wisconsin, she peers through a remote telescope in Australia, travels the universe outside the Milky Way. She probes closer and closer to the edge of time, the birth of light. She drifts like the Hubble past stars, named and yet to be named, light years from home. Like Henrietta Leavitt, who mapped pulsing orbs in a distant sky, my daughter glides through galaxies with telescope and camera to capture what is beyond the dust of thought and idea to the stuff of creation. Astronomer and photographer, she searches science in silence. Bright is the light that touches her. And what mother can't love their child so much that they would not love them no matter who they are? So that's where I'm at, and I can't understand people that push their children away. And my daughter tells me there are many. So um, that's why I'm doing that kind of writing and trying to keep it out there. And that's why we're doing a sequel.
It is definitely very important work that you're doing, and I do thank you for doing it too,
Oh,
and bringing attention to it because in this conversation we're having, I've been, I think about it, and it must be very challenging for Anna. It's not.
well, it is, and it is for any transgender person because you're always worried about your safety. That was one of the things, and I think I've written about that in here too, that worried about their safety, their health care. Things are gradual. The fact that they need access to health care and people that don't have access to health care, the suicide rate is much higher. People that are pushed away by their families, the suicide rate is as high as 60%. And that's the part that breaks my heart. Um, so you'll see me wearing my mama bear shirt some when I go out and about because I will say to anybody if they aren't accepted that I'll give them a hug. So for what little part that might help. So there was,
Awesome.
part of it too is that I talked to other parents. I met some other parents through Facebook. And one of the things is that there's a part of grieving that parents go through, like the name change and the fact that first you had a son and now you have a daughter. So there's a loss, but there's a gain. And so that's a balance that you have to deal with. And it's common. I've talked to other parents about that very thing. Um, so I don't know. I did a poem called Naming My Grief. Um, and that's was kind of early on what we felt right after she had given us the news. So at your first cry, the doctor decreed it's a boy. Your gender was assigned. We chose the name you will carry for life. Eric, it was our gift to you. Old Norse for one ruler, ever in power. Your middle name is after your father, John. We cannot conceive the years you struggled, the anxiety and discord you felt. Becoming a woman, you decree a new name, Anna, derived from your mother roots, Annette. For your middle, you chose the girl name we picked but never used, Carrie, from your Norwegian great-grandmother. We're touched by your thoughtful choices. You are still ever in power, growing into your new name. Yet the day you told us the court approved your female name, I cried that night in bed. So it was just this, oh, thank you so much. It was just this kind of point counterpoint, but I felt so much better after writing the poem and naming it. And then it was so much better. So much better. And there's still times like at Christmas time, it's when I hang up those stockings, I've had to change them, with the old name and the new name, but now it's been 12 going on 13 years, so I feel like it's I can't even imagine my daughter is not being a daughter anymore. I mean, she truly is the daughter I always wanted. So um time does bring that, and that's why there's a lot more to say about it. Um and just people that are doing bathroom bills, I have to just one of the poems in here, I don't need to read the whole thing necessarily, but it's just that we got up to go to a ladies' room, and honestly, I was worried about it. And we go in there, and nobody paid any attention at all to us. It's like there she was in front of the mirror, there I was in front of the mirror, and we just left, and nobody knew the difference. And that's the message to put out there because a lot of the things that we're hearing on the news just aren't true. So that's been just a really neat experience to write about this. And then COVID came along, and I had another project that was in our family for years and years and years, and that was my brother's letters from Vietnam. And he had been a journalism major at UW-Madison, and he graduated in 1967 as the protests were happening, gets drafted, and goes through basic training, and he goes to Vietnam in 1968, and I am a freshman at UW-Madison in 1968, thrown right into the protests. And he's writing home these really good letters. I mean, he's out in the jungle on a track, armored personnel carrier, and writing home like he's a reporter. And these letters are so good. And it was my mother's dying wish to do something with them. We kept them for years. So um, I have a collection of anti-war poetry, and I started looking at that, and it fit in with his letters. So I've woven some of my nonfiction experience, words, and his letters, and then some of my poetry into it. Um, and a lot of it tells about how we grew up as kids, too. So I have a poem called Pears that kind of talks about our growing up and a little bit of what happened. Growing up in the shadow of World War II, my brother grabs a pear from the green stamp fruit bowl, pulls the stem out with his teeth, and pretends to throw it, making hand grenade blasting sounds. He arranges Green Army men on the floor for attack and retreat, plays war games in a foxhole dug into the empty lot next door. As a Boy Scout, he learns survival, camping out on weekend bivouacs. With Dad, he hunts pheasant, partridge, and sometimes deer. He becomes a good shot. Like his father, uncle, and grandfather, he grows up to serve in the military. His draft number comes up at college graduation 1967. After basic training, he flies off to Vietnam, hastily prepared. He is issued old weapons from past wars, has no rain gear for monsoon season. My parents buy a rain suit and mail it to him. His letters tell of living in a track as they sweep the jungle, rolling through rice paddies, dodging snipers and ambushes. His letters describe mortar attacks, direct hits, and missing limbs. Scouting and hunting skills keep him alive in that jungle. He tells me, "You have it easy because you're a girl. You weren't forced into war or that kind of fear." Well, maybe I have it easier, but whenever I eat a pear, I feel his burden. My guilt ignites as the taste of pear explodes in my mouth. So that one, that just kind of went on and on. And then I kind of have a response to his life after he came home. And then he got an Agent Orange related cancer and passed away. So then I kind of have responses to that. And so that was really hard. But it was really, poetry is really healing to write in a way. I hadn't expected that after all these years, and he died in 2004, that I hadn't really dealt so much with it. And it was very healing in a good way. I felt like I was having a good visit with him every time I was handling these letters. And I have a marvelous story about how it got published. I was working with the Wisconsin Historical Society Press for about 8 years with this because I told them what I had, and they thought, "Oh, these letters, yes, we're very interested." I did his part of the story, and then they said, "Well, we want your part of the story." Okay, so I thought, oh, and I'm working full time, and I still have kids. I'm dealing with teenagers at this point. And so I thought, okay, I'll write my part of the story, but I didn't really dig into it until COVID. And then there were changes at the Historical Society Press. They were very, they were going through some staff changes, but a lot of all their objectives and so forth. So they had an editorial meeting, and they had half the people said, yes, we want to publish it. The other half said, no, the time's not right. So they essentially turned me down. So I thought, oh, I've been working with them off and on, for years. So then I started looking for another publisher. And one day I was looking through my brother's, he had a photo album because a good journalist is going to take pictures, you know. And he had this extensive photo album, and in the back was a little slip of paper. He had been to the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. around 1991, 92. And he had a company commanding officer that was greatly regarded, and was a West Point grad and had been killed, stepped on a booby trap, and it just tore him apart. So he had that name and two other names where he had done rubbings of their names. And so I thought, oh, I'd always heard those names. So I thought, well, during COVID, I'm sitting at home. I just Googled the name of this commanding officer. And okay, I got his information, but up popped the name of his wife, Ruth Crocker. And Dave Crocker was the captain from their unit. So I just sent her an email. And in about 10 minutes, I heard back from her. And she turns out that she's a book publisher. What are the chances? So we talked about it, and I wasn't going to push it on her. So we talked about what I had, and she said, I'm really interested to see what you have. So I sent it to her and she said, "Oh, yes, I'll publish it." And then, so we worked on it together and she lives out in Connecticut. We've become wonderful friends. She had, by some fluke, gotten connected with people from her husband's and my brother's unit in Vietnam. My brother wanted nothing to do with um, the army when he got out. So through her, I made contact with this group, and they have the 22nd Infantry. They have a website. They have annual meetings. They get together. So I let them know about it. And many of the people from his unit got a hold of the book, and they were just, I've gotten some really amazing emails because they said, "Oh my gosh, it's been 50 years. I was there in that battle on page 68, you know."
Wow.
And then they said, "I've finally been able to put some of this behind me now." So I thought, well, there's right there. Um, I was really glad I'd done it. So it's helped veterans, and so I've done some programs on that, and that's been rewarding, and that's where I've gotten involved with the Military Writers Society of America as a result, with Ruth, and I've gone to their conferences, um, and I've just kind of continued. And there's just what a wonderful group of people I've met.
Fascinating.
So that was just like, it
Wow.
was just a fluke, but that's one of those things like, um, I like to network with people. So if I see somebody or read something I like, I might just contact that person and find out. And I've met the most wonderful people, and part of it is through the raft with Phyllis, Cold Eye, a wonderful community of creatives that, and some of you are here today. I see the
Yep. We
faces,
love
Ruth and
Phyllis.
Karen and Shirley, and Tammy, and oh my gosh, and Val, people that because of the raft. And then if I, we have a group there where we share poetry one day a week of other poets. And I took a poem of Ellen Rowland's one time that I liked. Well, then I thought, well, I found her on Facebook and started emailing with her. Well, all of a sudden, Ellen Rowland, and then she's on your poet spotlight. And so everybody keeps connecting. And it's really fun. So I've met lots of people that way. And that's where I think I've grown as a poet because I start reading other people's work, and I'd highly recommend, that's just by reading other people and writing from it, and learning from others has really been the
Yeah,
journey.
right. Same here. Because each poet that comes on, I'm learning from, and it is all about the connection. Hope you're seeing some of these comments
Oh, I'm
in
not
that
comments. Oh my
for
gosh.
you. Are you not able to see them?
I haven't even looked at
Oh,
it.
yeah. Well, we're just saying brave, helpful, and awesome, your work.
Oh my gosh.
Um, I felt blessed to read Combat and Campus, Life Sustaining
Oh,
Work, all this connection. A lot of comments for you, a lot of
oh, thank
love.
you. Well, and it's a lot of all that I've learned from all of you here, that it's just kind of been part of the whole experience. And we're very lucky to have a wonderful group of poets in Wisconsin, that kind of feed my soul too. And Vlasta, you're part of that group too. I have to call you out. Um, we put out a calendar every year as a group, and it's been going on for like 40 years. And it's just different people volunteer to um, curate it each year and edit. And it's always just kind of a treasure. It's a great thing to give at Christmas to other people, um, and I feel pretty lucky to have a poem in there. So can I share one that I have from this year?
Of course, of course.
Um, this was actually inspired by James Cruz. One time he had put a thing about wrote a poem about having a sun in your chest to spread your love and goodwill. So I was thinking about that, and the theme for this year's for the 2025 calendar was shine. And you want to write a poem about shine, but you don't want to use the word shine. And oh, I see Peggy there. You're part of the Wisconsin Poets too. So this is one, my shine poem. while you wait. Let a small sun radiate from your smile as you rush to the post office, grocery store, and the pharmacy. See the harried pharmacist answer the phone while she reaches for prescriptions and sprints to the cash register to ring up orders of pills. People shift one foot to the other, wait their turn in line. Turn your sun toward your neighbor. Beam with your eyes, your mouth. Turn away from impatience. Study these faces, this small community in wait. Find kinship in the queue. Let a small sun radiate from your smile. So literally, I wrote that, well, I'm staying in line at the pharmacy. So poetry is everywhere. If we would just stop and listen, you have to listen to the muse. And I don't know how our time is doing here, but I would love to entertain some discussion here if folks have anything
Yep,
they
that's
want
what it is. I was going to ask you what kind of what is it you want the group to talk about?
to.
What is it you want from them?
Well, I think about the muse, and we are always talking about that and where we find it. So I want to ask, how and where do you open yourself to find the muse? Because you have to like find some space. So where do you all find your muse? Where and how?
Well, Karen had a question though first. Is that okay?
Oh, Karen,
Yeah,
sure.
Karen, of course, sure. Go ahead.
Well, I'm so sorry. It's not a question, but Zinjan, I know when we talked a few months ago, I talked about Annette extensively. I know you had to cut some of that out of the finished product, but it was very that you're in that it's been such a treasure to meet you. And like when you're talking about the connections that you've made, it's one of my favorite things about this whole community. And I don't know everybody on this call. I know several of you, but it's such a wonderful thing. And when I was reading, I Annette and I had a conversation one day, and I ordered the book, her book, Combat and Campus, and started reading it. And it was hard for me to read because I was a kid, and my uncle, I think, and your brother were probably around the same age. My uncle was also at Fort Dix. So when I was reading the descriptions of everything that your brother had written, it was very emotional and very important to me. And I just wanted to share that I just wanted to say that in front of a group that I thought it was amazing to read.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Karen. Thanks for saying that, for sharing that. See the impact. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say? Use that raise your hand feature on the bottom and make sure I see you. Two anthology. T says she has two anthologies written. Can you read all that, Annette, down there?
Oh, Mohican
You
Writers
got,
Circle in
yeah, you
Wisconsin.
got, yeah, you got
Oh
that
my
going on.
gosh. Uh,
Yeah.
I curate in my home a collection of 400 plus books by poets connected to the Albany, New York area. The Wisconsin poets are descendants of the Mohican people who once lived in the land. Wow, fabulous. We have some wonderful Native American writers in our Wisconsin poets group too. Kimberly Blazer is a former poet laureate for Wisconsin, and we have others. So it's like, uh, it's really, really good. So,
Does anybody have anything to say on what Annette asked or about any questions or anything about any of her writing or any comments on any of it thus far?
any daily practice? What are people's daily practice?
Yeah,
You
I
know, go ahead. Great.
yeah, I was fascinated by the fact that you use voice dictation while you're in the kayak.
Oh, well,
And I really commend you because I have to work so hard to stay current with technology. And the older I get, the worse my eyes get. And it helps me so much to do voice dictation and also to listen to podcasts and listen to poets reading rather, than to have to do it all by eye. But so could you talk more about how your writing has changed or your process as technology has changed?
Oh gosh, I think technology has helped me a lot. I used to go pen to paper, and I do sometimes, but I'm left-handed and I have terrible handwriting. So, um, and my thoughts go faster. So, since my daughter has her own computer business, she keeps me pretty informed on technology. So she's helped me a lot. She'll say, "Mom, you can use this audio feature, and here's how it works," and she'll be showing me different things. So, I use that a lot. I use the notepad on my computer, not only for the audio, but when I'm doing a workshop online, I'm taking notes. I'll do it on the notepad because she got me set up with an iPhone and a Mac, so they interface. So then I don't have to like retype stuff. I can just move it over. So I'm constantly like today I was listening to an audiobook, and I too have some vision issues that I prefer audiobooks. And when I hear a line I like, I just stop and dictate it into my notepad. So I was listening to this book, and there's some great lines. And every time I hear a great line, I'm going to grab it and have it as a prompt. So if I'm ever looking for something to write, I just go back to my notepad. So I'm pretty much using technology all the time to do that, to go back and forth with the devices that I have. It's just been really helpful. And I guess I do go to a thing once a week. I go up to Door County for visit art galleries to do ekphrastic poetry, where we view art and then we are inspired to write. And I do that. We have a wonderful program up there that's run by our poets laureate Peter and Carrie Sherrill at the moment. So that one, I do take a notebook and handwrite. And some people tell me that it's if they write by hand, it comes out better for words, but sometimes my words come so fast, I can't write them down fast enough and I miss. So it's kind of a love-hate relationship. I still try to do that handwriting, and I guess my very first poetry class, Ellen Court would have said, "Oh, handwriting is the way you want to go." And so it's a little bit of both, that I still do, but I think I love my technology the most.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. It's good encouragement because I try to keep going, learning new new tricks of the trade. Thank you so much.
Oh, sure, you're welcome. And if you get stuck, I just Google how to do something. I'll say, "Show me a video on how to do this." And then if I really get stuck, then I ask my daughter. She's been wonderful.
Thanks so much, T.
Sure.
Patty Joy.
Hello. Well, first I wanted to share with you, my phone is right here, and
Oh,
I
yay.
take it everywhere I go, and I dictate into anything I see all the time. So I'm glad somebody else does that. It's easier for me to do that than to stop and have to write it down. And my hands don't work like they used to.
Yes,
So sometimes
absolutely.
writing is painful. I've learned how to talk to my computer. So I'm glad. Thank you for saying that. I thought maybe I was
Oh
cutting
no,
myself.
and I lose paper. If I write it, I used
Yeah,
to write on napkins and scraps of paper, and
me
then
too.
I
Where
have
did it
all this mess,
go?
and I'm trying to
Where's
get
the?
rid of paper, and that way I can search it. You can search
Yeah,
it.
I did. And then the other thing I wanted to share, um, I have uh, two members of my family. They're not trans, but my brother, from the time I knew him, was gay, and his daughter Mishi is. In fact, it's her birthday today. She's 53. But the story I remember about Michi, and we were very close, and she was 5 years old, and she wanted a man's suit for her birthday. And I got her a suit for her birthday. I've got
Oh, good for you.
still have
That's
her picture.
wonderful.
Yeah, I still have her picture. I should write about that. I never
Oh, that
did. But yeah,
absolutely. That would make a wonderful poem.
yeah, and both my brothers were Vietnam era men. But Scott claimed him, my brother Scott said he was a conscientious objector. He would go to the line, but he would not carry a weapon. And instead, they sent him to Lebanon to teach English in a Greek Orthodox
Oh,
mosque
wow.
right at the time that the war was breaking out there. And then Norm, something happened to him. So neither of them had to go. And I just felt so blessed about that, that it was just, you know, that they didn't have to go. But I loved reading I have someone that came last week that was setting up my computer so I could in book format. Now, I know book format, but this was more to publish. And it was call out to your friends, man.
Oh, well, yeah. And I guess I worked in healthcare marketing for my career, like 40
Mm,
years worth. And I worked with graphic designers and I did a lot of, proofing and publications of annual
mm,
reports and booklets and patient ed materials and that kind of thing. And there's a graphic designer that I worked with, and we worked together really well. And she designed both these covers, this one and this one. And we
oh,
worked so well together because I said, here's what I've got. And my collage, I wanted a collage
oh, I
of
see. Yes,
my
yes.
brother's favorite. That's
The,
that picture of him with that little Christmas tree and the helmet, you know. And then
oh,
I had to have something from Madison, and then I have this is a picture of the unit going out, but it has their Captain Dave Crocker in it, who was
oh,
killed. So it's honoring Ruth's husband.
I
Um,
just, I'm grateful for everything you shared. We have several poetry groups here in Knoxville area that I am part of. So I've kind of built up that relationship with the women here. It's a lot different than when I was in Sewanee, Tennessee, because that was a university
wow.
town. But I found we're everywhere. Poets are everywhere.
Oh,
And you
well,
just,
and I love all of the in-person things that I get
mm,
to do because we have a very active group in many different areas, as well as the online. So it's a mixture of both. I don't want to miss the one-on-one in-person
right, right.
opportunities, that we have. But I would say poetry is alive and well. I would say in the last decade, it's really grown more than even where it was back in the
I think so
late
too.
80s and early 1990s, that poets are going to save the world, I think. We're the conscience of society. I've always said that.
Yeah,
We've got to have somebody out there expressing truth.
that's right. Well, thank you very much for sharing your
Oh,
story. It was
well,
beautiful.
thank you for your comments.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. And does anybody else have anything they'd like to share in this community sharing time?
I guess
Thank you.
I could say something if that's okay.
Sure.
Annette reminded me that that you have a background in marketing, and when I first met you, it was at an early conference. It was probably in 2017 at a Right on Door County conference, and that's a specific writing school in not too far away from Green Bay, and Annette had a copy of Becoming Transparent in her hand, and everywhere she went, you talked about it to people, whoever you met. I don't know how on earth you did. You were just so engaging, and every class that I had with you, you would just be engaging people in your book that I don't know about anybody else, but I immediately went and ordered it as soon as I could. And then when I read it, I just thought, this is poetry, discussing a transgender person and an experience in a family. And I was just so blown away by it. And then when I watched everybody's faces, when you were reading your poems, it really brought me to tears.
Oh, That is
And
so
well, I
It's
just thought
powerful.
how,
She's right.
Yeah, it is. It is.
part of it is, I guess, feeling the passion for it. It's when I meet people and you start talking, it just sort of comes up in conversation. And maybe it's because it is my passion that I want to make a difference to make
Yeah.
life better for my daughter and for other LGBTQ people. I want it to be better out there.
Mhm.
And that's how you do it. To know someone is to understand. That's kind of where I come from inside. And it's the same thing with veterans who weren't given their due coming home from
Oh, yeah.
Vietnam. To
Yeah.
know somebody and what they went through, what my daughter went through, what my husband went through. He's a Vietnam veteran. To let people know that it's important. And, I've even had people that go, "What? I don't know anything about that." I've had younger people say, "I don't know anything about Vietnam," or "I don't know anything about transgender." It's like, it's time that we share our passion. And I never intended for that to be my goal. It just sort of evolved. This is after I retired. This has become a whole retirement career that I never expected. That is, but it comes from, I guess, from the heart, from passion. So thank you,
Mhm.
Peggy. That's probably where it comes out. And I don't mean to be bragging or full of myself with it. It's just that it's something that I feel I need to communicate with people.
It's an expression of love.
No,
It's
okay.
it's an example of love in energy, you know? It's
And
it is powerful.
I guess it comes back to the writing practice of what kind of nags at me in my head, like things that I've had poems that have been brewing for decades, and literally this was decades, things
Sure.
coming out. But there'll be something I'll go, you know what? That's been bugging me. That's my muse saying, wake up, here's something you should write about. Um,
Mm.
the poem that won the Grutzmacher Prize was one of those. It had been 10 years, and I thought something was bugging me for 10 years. And finally, one day I was on my bike on the trail and thought, I guess I got to just write this poem. And I found a park bench and I sat down and I wrote it in my notepad on my phone.
How about that?
Uh,
Thanks, Peggy. It was great.
uh,
Val has her hands up.
yeah.
Which is odd. I never raised my hand, but I think part of the power of the poems, especially in the trans book, is the ordinariness of it, because it's just we often don't know that the people we're interacting with, the people that we love, the people that we know possibly online and have never seen, we don't really know the full story. We have no idea if they're even trans, if they've transitioned a while ago, we don't know, or we don't know what the story is that brought them to that. So it's almost the ordinariness of it that makes it so special and so moving. As a body worker, I worked for many years with people as they were transitioning, because they would come to the spa where I worked to have facial hair removed and stuff, and then they would come for massages. So I worked very very closely with people who were going through the whole thing, and they would come in as one sex, and often very angry, and then and as they transitioned, their anger would kind of dissipate until by the time they had transitioned, they were different people, but they were comfortable in their own skin. And what a beautiful thing. And you expressed it so beautifully, because I bought the book and read it, and it
Oh, thank you. Thank
one
you.
it's so.
Well, and you know what? It's the change you see in a person. It's like when I look at my daughter, she's the same person, okay, from male to female, but I saw somebody go from being very unhappy and depressed to being very happy and functional and productive. And when you see that and you go, oh, and she's the same person, that's the thing that, and I have to say, everybody transitions differently. So this is only one story That's all I can say is it's one story, because everybody's story is different and how they go through whatever changes they go through. And it's the same with veterans too, is one story because everybody's had their trauma, whatever it may be, and they're trying to heal from that and move forward. And I think we all have different degrees of that, but in the case of veterans as well as transitioning, it's more severe, I think, and there's a lot to overcome.
Do you, Annette, have a final poem or final words that you'd like to share?
Well,
Or both the words,
yeah,
final
I
words
guess,
and a poem?
um, yeah, I guess I might move to something ekphrastic because, and I have a hard time with, um, my friend Peter Sharrow will say, well, I just listen to the painting, or, he even uses some Reiki to feel the energy. And I go, a lot of times I write from what's on my mind. So I have something I'm working on. And so one day we were at this wonderful gallery that's the Margaret Lockwood Gallery that's in Sturgeon Bay, and she does calming artwork. So here's a painting of hers, and they're just calm. And I thought, oh, this was a couple of years ago. I thought a couple of years ago the news was bad. Well, it was bad. And I just needed some calming. Little did we know where it was going to go. So this took second place in the Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets, one of their contests, and it's called Ekphrastic Blue. And it was published in Moss Piglet. I have to give a shout out to John Bloner and Moss Piglet for the quirky arts journal. Look up crazines.com, KRAZINES.com. So this was in his issue. Every month there's a different theme. This was the blue issue. So Ekphrastic Blue. It was from 3 paintings from the Margaret Lockwood Gallery. I need blue, ripples of blue, a sea of blue, rolling blue waves. I want to float on cerulean, tread in a pool of plain, middle of the road blue. I crave turquoise with a hint of grass and sun, and tranquil sky blue. I want to fade into a curtain of indigo or cobalt, the dusk of quiet space, then wake up to the palest of blue in a gauzy sky on a humid morning. I need blue to wash away the red angst of madmen, the orange fire of bullets. I need blue to wash away the daily barrage of, well, everything. Give me every blue you have, balm of blue, blue, bluer, bluest. And that was a gauzy, humid morning because it was in summer. I can picture the day when I was doing it. So I get a lot out of those weekly ekphrastic. Just go to an art gallery. That's another, or look up art online and just write from it. And a lot of times it's wherever place my head is that day. It may be something I'm dealing with, or it may just be what I see in the painting. It's really fun. It's just fun. All of this is just fun.
And what are your final words to share with everybody today in that?
Oh my gosh, the final words. Ooh, I guess just be gentle with yourself. Let the muse arrive when it arrives. I can't push the river. I've tried many times. And you just got to let it go with the flow. And that's my practice. I can't just say, oh, today I'm going to write. It's just that my final thing is, I guess every day I look at poetry online. I have a couple of news feeds that come in, emails that I get from Rattle or Poem a Day or George Bilger, one of those. And a lot of times I'll get an idea in my head and I'll start writing notes on my notepad before I'm even out of bed. And then I just go right to the computer, and I may not get downstairs till noon. That's the beauty of being my own boss now. And I can't tell you how many days, and then, my husband John will be, where did she go? And it's like, no, I gotta get this down. I'm sorry, this is like, so when the news calls, that's my final word. Answer. Don't let it go, or it'll be lost. It'll be lost forever, and only you have that creative spark.
Have you said everything? Do you feel complete with your message that you want to
Oh, I
share
think
today?
so. I think so. I probably
Well, that's important. It's important to me to make sure everybody here does, says what they want to, what's on their heart to share. Let's take a breath together. Let's just take a breath together, perhaps with closed eyes, perhaps hand on heart. A breath for Annette's willingness to share her voice, for the honesty in that, and for the way it found its way here to us today. Annette, may you keep trusting your intuition and your pure intention as you share. May you continue to offer your voice exactly as it is. And may you always feel how deeply it matters. Thank you so much for trusting us today, for being here, for your presence, your openness, and your heart. And we are truly grateful that you spent this time with us, and we hope you had a good time. And with that, I'd like to go around the circle and open it up to anyone and everyone that would like to share. Any final words you'd like to say to Annette, or let us know how you're leaving today? What are you leaving here with today? You don't have to say anything, but I'd love to go around the circle and let me know what you're leaving here with today, or words for Annette. Anybody? Any takers?
Oh, I'll go.
Okay, Karen, go ahead, girl.
I just feel I always feel better after I'm on a webinar with any kind of poetry people, and I just really appreciate Annette a lot, and I appreciate you, Zenjen, for hosting us. Somebody wrote that in the comments, and I agree with that. I echo that. It was just really, I just feel good now, so I appreciate you both.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Thanks for that comment too, and Brenda, and thanks for bringing my attention to it. Awesome, thank you. Thank you for being here too. I'm not sure who's on iPad.
Oh, I'm Carol. Sorry, I just
Carol.
got a new iPad, so I hadn't put it in yet.
Right.
I'm so grateful to be here, and I really what spoke to me is when the muse calls, answer. Like I think I have almost been waiting for somebody else to answer, and now to take up that space, take up that time, because she will go. I mean, I'm not worried about it going out into the world by me, but what I do put out into the world, I want to own. And so that is a really beautiful, for me, reminder and the inspiration and the awe in doing that. So thank you.
Thank you. Nikki.
Oh, me? Oh, yeah. This was wonderful. This session, I feel like was a gift. It was a holiday gift. It glowed with the generosity and the love of all the holidays around the solstice. So thank you very much for this December present.
Awesome. Thanks so much, T. Peggy, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I feel that Annette's work is a way to let love lead the way through the society, through things that society has inflamed society. And I feel like Annette's poetry leads with love and shows us how to love. And as long as we do that, it's okay.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Boy,
Yeah.
that was nice, Peggy. Tammy, did you?
Oh, yeah, I think my take-home message, Annette, was like to pay attention and to like I know there's an expression like deep listening is the highest form of love. So that's what I want to apply from what I learned today. Thank you, Annette.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Tammy. Any other takers? Ruth or Patty or Brenda?
I was just
Patty?
want yeah, I'm deeply inspired. I can't do any tonight because I have to go to a concert with my grandson. But there's just so much in my mind right now that I just have to center myself. I'm just thrilled with your presence
That's right.
with us.
Breathe,
Just thrilled.
breathe it in, right? Let all
Oh,
this
thank
stuff.
you. Oh,
Yeah.
just
Oh,
let it flow, process,
so good. So good.
Oh,
Patty,
hey.
yeah, thank you. And have a good time. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
And
I'll just say balm of blue. I like that.
Oh,
Thank you.
well, and it's something you can let it carry you along. That's my favorite color too. But sometimes you just need to let our work and other people's work, you can let that carry you through and give you joy and comfort each day too.
Mhm.
did you want to say anything? I hope you're seeing the comments and that. Who else? Anybody? Forget. Anybody else? Are we all good? Everybody leaving here feeling complete? Annette, how about contact information? How can people get in touch with you?
Oh, I have a website. I have an email address. My email is my first name and last name, Annette Grunseth @gmail.com. And I have a website, AnnetteGrunseth.com. I have excerpts there. I have speaking engagements listed there. I need to update my page. It's kind of like a whole list of different things. My books are there.
I know it's hard to keep it up on all that stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I love
And
to hear on
will
email.
they? I'm sorry. Would they be able to find the calendar? Was earlier on,
Yeah.
Karen asked if there a link to the calendar. Are you able to access that calendar through your website?
Well, you can purchase it through the website,
Oh,
WFOP.org, Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets. I can put in the WFOP.
I can also post these links underneath the YouTube video,
Okay.
so it'll be up for replay probably later today.
Um,
Um, yeah, okay, cool. Anywhere else on Substack or anything like
oh,
that?
actually, I kind of accidentally set up a Substack and then people started following me and I haven't quite figured it out yet because it's a
Yeah,
little
me
different.
either.
So I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Just use my three names, and I use my Langlois maiden name mainly because of this, because my brother was Peter Langlois, so that people connect us as brother and sister.
I
Um,
see.
so I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. Again, the
Okay.
same three names. And I'm
And
going to
on
try to
Amazon too,
get
right?
on Amazon. I'm going to get Substack going because I would like to start kind of maybe a blog or something. As soon as I figure it out, it's a little different.
It is a little bit different. I've yet to totally figure it out.
But
So
so many people are on Substack these days. So,
yeah, that's
um,
true.
so
That's true.
that's my project for the coming year.
Hey, thanks so much for sharing time with us. We hope you had a good time here
Oh,
today.
thank you so much. I appreciate everybody's comments and the fact that our interaction, because that's what I like best is like the dialogue that we have, because we keep evolving together. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't, we're not going to have the same conversation with a lot of people that we interact with. So this is really cool. Thank you all for
Yeah.
coming and making this space possible, for being here in this community. Please visit zenfulconversations.com for all the other free offerings coming up. Thank you again. In deep gratitude. Annette, keep up the
Oh,
great work. Thank
well,
you.
thank
Thanks,
you for
everyone.
Thank
having this
you.
platform. I really appreciate it. You're doing some great work, Zen Jen.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Namaste, everyone.
Bye. Thank
Namaste.
you. Thank you.
Bye.